He interviewed for summer.
At the school.
Yeah. Real skills.
Really? What? That's
We're going to call the May 15th City of Plattsburgh Common Council meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Carlin, could you do the roll, please?
Mayor Hughes.
Here.
Counselor Vaughn.
Here.
Counselor Evans.
here.
Counselor Gibb.
Here.
Counselor Talon.
Here.
Counselor Manette.
Here.
Counselor Colleen.
Here.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of the Common Council held on May 1st, 2025, and the special meeting held on May 8th, 2025 are approved and placed on file among the public records for the city clerk's office.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Evans. Roll call.
Counselor Vaughn.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Counselor Gibb.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Here.
At this point, I'll entertain anybody from the public that'd like to issue any public comments. Before we continue with public comment, though, I'd like to remind everyone that remarks should be directed to the body as a whole, the council and myself, and not towards any individual. Whether a council member, an officer, or employee of the city, or member of the public, personal attacks or targeted comments are not appropriate in this meeting and are not permitted under the rules of decorum. If a speaker violates this guideline, I may ask them to redirect their comment and end their time at the podium. We appreciate everyone's cooperation in maintaining a respectful, productive environment. Who would like to speak? Just identify yourself when you get up there with the interaction space. Thank you.
And I'm going to be talking tonight a little bit about some data that I've analyzed in regard to assessments. And I shared this last night with the county legislation, and I'd like to share it with you guys.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So, I think many of us in this room got our assessments last week or the week before, and I think we all did a big old. But as we all know, assessments not necessarily means higher taxes. It all depends on what happens with the budget over the summer period, right? Because we get our assessments in January and then the budget. But I do want to share some information in a few minutes. I'm trying to audience and get a lot of copies, but Jared and Storm will post it on the top for truth, my full presentation. So I'm here with two requests for you tonight. The first is one that is related to the senior citizen exemption for property tax, and the second one is some investigation I've done on commercial property tax assessments. So in the state of New York, they allow up to $50,000 as the income limit to get a 50% exemption on your property tax. Okay? And that's great. And they also allow up to $58,000 in what's called the sliding scale. So you could get 30%, 20%, 10% off your property tax assessment. So That's the first part of those paragraphs. So I look to see where we were at. And I think I've talked to a couple people about this before. So the last 2 pages of my presentation are the actual senior citizen exemption in the city of Plattsburgh and the county. And the city of Plattsburgh has not had a review or a change since 2006. And the county also has. Okay, so it has been 26,000 for what, 20 years? There's been this thing called cost of living adjustment by the Social Security Administration that nobody's taken into account, and I think it's time that we do so. So the other thing that happened, and I'm really kind of angry about this, is recently the city decided they were no longer going to allow an exemption income, like an income deduction for your healthcare costs, right? So I'm turning 65 this year. I'm gonna get my B, I'm gonna get my D, I'm gonna get my supplemental. It's almost $5,000 a year and jack all that stuff up. So in essence, in 2024, I could get $31,000 worth of Social Security. I could deduct my healthcare costs, and I'd still be able to get my 50% exemption. But for some reason, I don't know why, maybe the mayor can tell us why they decided to get rid of that $5,000 that all of us Medicare folks were after, right? Right, between Part B, Part D, and supplemental, it's $400 or more a month. So $26,000 in my opinion is just way too low. So I called up Greene County. Why did I pick Greene County? Because it's a lot like us. It's rural, it's agricultural, and our mean income is about the same. They recently and often review their senior citizen exemption amount, and right now they're in the low 40s. So as you know, the county can pick one, the city can pick one, the towns can pick one, and they picked right around 40. Because they didn't want their folks to lose the senior citizen exemption. So anyway, so me, Ms. Math, that is, you guys all know that I do a lot of math. I took the COLA from the Social Security website, and the source is right here on the document. I took the $26,000, applied the roll forward formula, and I came up with $47,000 is what, if you took the 6,000, rolled it forward, which I think would be great if we added the cost of healthcare, that no longer is a deduction, we'd be right at the state allowed amount of $50,000. So people over here are probably saying, oh, we can't give that big an exemption. I think there are 20% of the population is over 65. So that's a lot of homeowners, right? But only 38% of the people or the buildings in Plattsburgh are owner occupied. And that's gonna bring my next point. Where are we gonna get the money from to allow this greater senior citizen exemption? Well, I am just boggled as boggled can be. And I think some of you actually know what I'm gonna talk about next. Is I did a deep dive. I looked at over 100 commercial properties in the city of Plattsburgh. And it goes, just so you know, the county's office puts a code on there, whether it's a single family home, whether it's a restaurant, strip mall, a sorority. And there's this code on there.
That's 5 minutes.
And what I did is I noticed that some of the codes never had any assessments or have one assessment since 2011. I'm not an assessor, but I've been a downtown business owner and I have a lot of common sense. But I'm gonna share with you just a couple. I know I'm going over my time.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go as fast as I can.
All right.
82 Margaret Street, okay, just down the street. I used to own the restaurant in there. From 2011 to 2012, it was assessed at $158,000 for all those years. Monopole assessed at $195,000. I know my house is right about that number. There's a few other ones that are just as egregious. So for me, I feel gypped. I feel like my home assessment, which is $180,000, and monopole $199 for 11 years. That just doesn't seem fair to me. Not fair at all. So I would like to propose that we look at raising the senior exemption and reassessing the commercial properties to get things more in line and give the benefit to the seniors so they can age in person. Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Available to members of the press also. I know there's a lot in it. So please bear with me. I tried to highlight in my speech what is important. I think it's all important.
Thank you.
I thought you might want to follow along.
Good.
So, good evening, Mayor Hughes, council members, and members of the public. My name is April Wood and I live at 215 Idaho Ave. Tonight, I want to ensure that each of you, before casting your vote on appointing Jared Trombley as chief of police, has a full and factual understanding of the individual being considered. To that end, I've compiled a 65-page packet of official documents obtained through FOIL requests. These documents are being handed to each of you, as well as the mayor and members of the press. If anyone watching this live stream would like a copy, you're welcome to email me directly at amfuloffun@gmail.com. This packet includes, in order, the formal Section 75 charges filed against Jared Trombley, to include charge 1, misconduct, incompetence, and insubordination for failing to follow city and department procedures. Charge 2, falsifying documentation of worked hours. There's also a reference in there, I think on the 5th page, number 25 and 26. It talks about general rules for its members, and which ones were violated. I have attached general rules at the very back of the packet so that you can research that yourself if you'd like. Additionally, an incident report detailing 16 cases that went completely uninvestigated under his command. The victims in these cases are listed as society. Okay, society are the victims. It's telling of how deeply the public trust was harmed. I also want to note that there are 8 highlighted sections. These are individuals that had sex crimes violated against them, and I think 6 of the 8 were juveniles. Imagine if that was your child. Next, a memo dated September 5th, placing Trombley on administrative leave in.
You can't, that's warning number 1. Direct your comments to the council. Personal remarks are out. Are out of order.
Just for clarification, I want to find out which ones were personal remarks.
Cannot address an employee or individual.
Okay, so I'll call him unknown. How's that? So unknown, you are relieved of your duty. You're hereby ordered to return all city issued equipment immediately, including your firearm, badge, keys, and cell phone, and any other items you have. A signed settlement agreement. And also a notice of 5-day suspension without pay on the settlement agreement, which Trombley accepted the 5 unpaid days.
That's warning number 2. You've been advised already. Personal comments are not allowed.
Oh,
If you
sorry.
do not comply, your speaking time will end.
So if I had nice things to say, it would be okay?
The
Okay,
rules are the rules,
so
whether you're
unnamed-
positive or negative.
Agreed not to seek or accept any other city employment beyond his previous role as lieutenant. And he voluntarily waived his right to a hearing. So when Mr. Hughes claimed yesterday that Trombley never had his day,
That's it.
that is
You're
factually
directed to leave the
incorrect.
podium at this time.
I quoted, it's a quote from you yesterday, Mr. Hughes.
You were asked, I've asked you
You know what the
twice.
problem is? You don't like what I have to say
Listen,
about your
I
candidate.
heard what you've had to say.
Now, I want to bring attention to,
You're
The-
directed to leave the podium and exit the room, please.
these are a list of your campaign donors,
If-
sir.
If
These
you
are a
refuse
list
to
of your
comply,
campaign
law
donors.
enforcement
You-
will be asked to assist you in restoring order.
You specifically,
I asked you to leave the room.
I'm not leaving the room. I'm not leaving the
Officer-
room.
Lieutenant,
Press, please make sure you evaluate. These are his campaign donors, Ms. Vaughn, Ms. Gibbs, and 4 people from the search committee for the chief of police. 4 out of the 6 donated to your campaign. Okay, I think that's very telling. At least you could do is hold off. I sent my police, I got my police in this. Do me a favor. Get out, do me a favor. Get out. That must be Denise nephew. You get out.
let's keep this professional, please. Is anybody else wishing to do public comment this evening?
Hello, resident of the city of Plattsburgh and a few more microphones. Sorry about that. They're not so fast. I don't have a horse in the race for the police chief. I know that also tensions are going to. Oh, sorry. Jonathan Kirolic, 22 Cornelia Street. I know that the topic of money is big, and I wish everybody was able to would come and see the work that the members of the city have been trying for with the 5-year plan. 2 weeks ago on this one, and it's going to factor into taxes. When you have the rezoning, but not successful, when you have more investment, you're going to have more property owners, commercial and residential, paying into the pool, so each person pays less. And that is a very important issue that I like to thank the city and the city workers for even staying on top of, and would invite everyone to pay attention to that. I'm going. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to make public comment this evening? Sure.
You go first? No, you go first. Well, with different people off.
I don't promise that I will do the same. Hello, my name is Joan Jansen. I'm a resident of the city of Plattsburgh. And when I took a look at the Press Republican, the front headline was "Hughes to appoint Trombley as police chief." And I thought, isn't that interesting? I hadn't heard that this was coming up. And
Man, we have to keep please just address the council, and it can't be personal, please.
the council.
Yes.
Well, again, not personal. I'm just reading the headline.
I got you.
Okay, and it said, if approved by the council, it won't be without controversy. And what I found interesting is that it says that there was an outside agency appointed in February to look into findings, and that the summary of these have not yet been made available. So when this went to press, the conclusion of the investigation was not yet available. I found that interesting for 2 reasons. First off, it appears that if the mayor is getting ready to make an announcement, a decision has already been made. So they're not going to take into account whatever, you people are not going to take into account, whatever the findings are from this study, which means, number 2, you have spent taxpayer money without any consideration for the results. And speaking as a taxpayer, that does not make me happy. And what I'd like to know was why candidates were considered for the chief of police, which this is police, this should be an impeccable position, and why you would want to consider a candidate that may not have broken the law, but certainly shows bad judgment from an ethical and moral perspective. Perhaps the worst part about appointing such a terribly flawed candidate is the message that you send to the officers who will work under his charge. Without an irreproachable chief of police, how can we hold the staff to equally high standards? We cannot. So I ask you, if you should ask the citizens of the North Country if there's corruption in Washington and if they think it ought to be fixed, they undoubtedly tell you yes. If you ask them, is there corruption in Albany and do you think it ought to be fixed? Undoubtedly, they'll say yes. So you who have been elected locally are presented now with an opportunity to show your local constituents that you can serve as examples of ethical politicians. Please do the right thing and appoint someone worthy of the honor of being our chief of police. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Denise Nephew, Ward 2. I'm here to speak about two issues. I'm all for the appointment on the new police chief and the new captain. It's long overdue. Lots of wrong information, which I, after so many years of working in the city and knowing what's going on, tried to correct, but some people you just cannot convince. And maybe because this is happening, this council already knows the findings. Just keep that in mind. We need to do this. We have lost the asset seizure money over the last 3-4 years. We used to have that. That's been lost. We need to get a lot of these things back that have been lost in this police department. I worked with this police chief coming in. I need him. I can talk to him. He will listen. And he's listened for the last 7 or 8 years. Now, people may not think this is much, but I help TNR cats in the city and the surrounding. He has helped me with this. You may think this is insignificant, but it is not. We need somebody we can relate to, talk to, that emails me back, that calls me back. Enough of this. These people have been through enough. Believe me, I know what this is like. So I am all for this. Please go ahead with this. We need to mend this city and go ahead, because I've already seen a difference in the police presence in this community, the police presence in Underwood Avenue Trailer Park, and other things. Please, I am all for this for these two men. Secondly, please consider putting the city assessment department back. It was abolished in 2018, and we need to get it back. And it is pretty obvious why we need to get the city assessment department back. I have been hit with higher assessments for the 5th year. And it is sad to say the apartment building across the street that has 2 apartments is assessed about 45,000 degrees. I'm sorry, not degrees, money less than what I am. This isn't right. The apartment down the building, down the street is assessed at much $40,000 to $50,000 less. Something's very wrong here. 5 years in a row, I've been hit. You're pricing, he's pricing me right out of my home. And also I did some research, and this assessor hasn't assessed his own house since 2017. Now, what's wrong with that picture? Please, in the budget time, please consider putting this department back. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Former Mayor Stewart stepped up, sir. Are you
Better get me while I'm on.
Yeah, okay.
Age comes first. My name's Jack Stewart. Ward 2, 19 Sherman Street. It's 50 years. And ex-mayor of the city of Plattsburgh, and a councilor for 25 plus. I came tonight because I was enthused this week. I read the paper and was making a move. You can't run a department the size of the police department with no chief. You have to have it. And I gotta give the mayor the credit. Because he did it. And he stepped forward and bit the bullet. I want to point something out to you. And I was sitting here thinking back. I came in. For 6 months, I was fired the day I was hired. I took the appointment because the mayor resigned. I had no budget. I came my first day on Monday to the council, to the city, and I came in here and I looked up and the ceiling was ripped out, the lights were gone, the wires were hanging, holes in the wall, all the furniture was gone. The carpet was ripped up. And I called the city engineer and Bob Brown to come over. I said, we came into the office and I said, I said, I don't have any money, but we're gonna do something. We had a citizen's house like this, we condemn it. And this is a city building. And we're gonna have a clean building. And I got a phone call from Denise. She said, Jack, I'll back you because we got some money in the accounts, I can close them. Cause I had no budget, I had no papers, I had no documents, I had nothing. And we were sitting there and she said, I can give you some cash. So then I called up city yard and I asked if somebody, find me 2 painters. And I said, it's not gonna be easy because we gotta pick up everything and then paint it. And then put it back. And Denise at that time in the union had been criticized over and over and over. Everybody turned on them. And they came and they did it day in and day out. And I said, boy, I'm gonna get blistered when this is over. It looked perfect. Everything, we took it from someplace else in the city and we put it in here. And then I was the proudest person in the world when I came back the next time. And we're using it for a meeting. Because we used to meet over there and we had no room and the sun was shining right in your eyes all the time. Then it was the best day of my life. I walked in here today and people are comfortable. They've got seats. I was here when there was a revolt. And let me tell you, they were standing all the way out to the stairs. And they were screaming and yelling and giving us a tough time. Uh-oh. I'm back there. My God, so anyway, that's enough of that, but I wanna say, I'm proud of you people. Some days you gotta do things you don't wanna do, but you gotta do. The city comes first, and your job is basically, to leave it a better place than it was when you came in. And it's not hard. There's a lot of things to improve. I witnessed a lot of things that I completely quiet on. I mean, they were tough. The Great Center was a disaster. It cost us a fortune, and we kept it because it was there. And I'm very sorry that it's gone, but maybe we can do something better. Right up from the road. So thank you very much. And I'm glad we're gonna get a Jeep. And we got a good city, let's keep it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my
I think you just got mooned by the former mayor.
They say every time I get pulled over, I plead the fifth.
Alright,
Yeah, that's okay. Hope the font's big enough. I'm gonna try to make it go off the script a little bit. Hope this don't piss too many people off. So to the members of the Plattsburgh Common Council, picture this, a community where police officers aren't feared, but welcome. Where block parties and barbecues replace beers and where trust isn't something we beg for. It's something we build together. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, why not wait for the findings of the independent investigation before voting for officer chairs? Well, let me tell you a little secret, I already have a pretty good idea of what the report's going to say. It'll be the same old song and dance, petty allegations, vague accusations, and community whispers blown into community level drama. What your claims of time theft, or that he may have used a city vehicle to watch his kids play after school sports. And you know what? Probably a few of us are probably already guilty of that already. If that's the word someone can dig up, that a father tried to be present for his children while still serving in the city, I say we should be celebrating that, not condemning it. Let's be honest, everyone in this town has dirt on. We all do. Let's call it spade a spade. From the guy I basically call One Bullet Barney, to the folks working behind the desk at the DA's office, everyone. But there, some wear shiny badges or hold big titles and act like their skeletons don't rattle in the dark. Well, I'm done pretending. I'm done with gossip mill, the Debbie Downers, the petty Pete's, and all the folks who would rather tear someone down than build a community up. This city doesn't need more finger pointing, it needs forgiveness and empathy. Officer Jared isn't perfect, neither am I.
Jared, you've got to just address this.
Sorry. Neither are you. But what sets him apart, you can tell him your faults, your worst days, and he won't turn around and use them as ammunition. He won't gossip, he won't backstab, he'll forgive, and it isn't that what we need more of in this public service. I get messages all the time from people in this community who are tired of the chaos, tired of the distrust, tired of the system as it stands. And you know what, Officer Trombley is tired too.
You can't use his name.
I'm sorry.
Can't use his name.
Tired of the same broken cycle, tired of watching our town lose its sense of community. We need leadership, not just any leader, but one who gets it, one who understands that being a cop isn't just about citations and sirens. It's about showing up, it's about making people feel safe, not anxious every time they see blue lights in their rearview mirror. We need someone who can lead the next generation of officers with compassion, not fear. Someone who says, come sit with us, let's break bread together. Let's build trust, not just cases. Imagine officers going to burgers at a neighborhood block party instead of standing behind ticket pads. Imagine children waving at patrol cars instead of hiding from them. That's the kind of community I want. That's the kind of leadership I believe officer can deliver. So I say to this council, don't delay justice beyond red tape and whispered vendettas. Don't stall on what this community so desperately needs now. We need a new police chief and we need it now. Not just any chief, but one who has walked among us, who knows our story, who believes in second chance. I believe this person is officer. Let's choose the community over politics. Let's choose healing over hurting. Let's choose a future we can be proud of together. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Joe. Is there any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Hey, my name's Jim Bolron. I live in Ward 4. I'd like to thank my counselor, Dr. McCown, for all the hard work she does. It's okay to mention her name.
You think? Yeah, well, within, within,
I
we do have rules.
I understand.
Oh, I apologize.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to congratulate you and the council members for your diligent efforts at keeping names out of this discussion. That's the right thing to do. The reason I have concern about this is the process. I read what was public in the paper and your email, and I'm a little concerned over the fact that there's been an investigation. Some people have said, you all know what the results were. Well, that's great. And as our representatives, I wish you'd share it with us before you make a decision on a chief of police. Tell us, show us. We worry about politicians who aren't upfront, to be quite honest with you. I'd like you all to be upfront. Then, all things coming out as you say they will, we'll be happy to support them. But we sure would like to see the results of that investigation. Merely because it feels right to do. For me and for a lot of people, that's not enough. We need to see the facts that we paid to find out about. That's all. So I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you and thank all of you for stepping forward and representing the people of Plattsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment? Are there any rules about how many stewards can talk?
There should be. I'll keep my pants on. I actually came here tonight because there's later on in the council meeting, my sister's actually going to go in front of you guys for something, so I actually came to document because she couldn't be here. But from hearing all this conversation, I kind of feel obligated to address the council. Hi, my name is John Stewart. I retired from the Plattsburgh Police Department with probably over 20 years of service. I At the end of my service, I worked as a group supervisor for the Drug Enforcement Administration Task Force. I was lucky to do all kinds of things when I was there. With that said, I mean, the Plattsburgh Police Department, it really is a business. It's a place where they gotta work for the taxpayers, they gotta provide results, and they gotta perform for the city taxpayers. With that said, I really truly believe Jared Tremblay understands that. I believe that Jared,
You can't mention his name.
oh, I'm sorry, I believe whoever goes in front of you for that position tonight actually understands that and will do a fantastic job. He has, great leadership ability, he has a, commitment, and he's just a good individual that would serve the Plattsburgh Police Department very well. I really thank your time. I really, like I said, I didn't plan on speaking, but I heard some of these things. I worked with Jared when I was there. Sorry. Stop before I throw it.
Well, how many times I've like?
Listen, I strongly urge you guys to support the police chief.
Thank you, John. Now, anybody else for public comment this evening? No other public comment this evening. Going once? Going twice? Gone. Ms. Carmen.
Payroll for various departments of the city of Plattsburgh for the week ending May 14, 2025, in the amount of $605,543.28. Council approved the bills audited by the common council for the weeks ending May 9th, 2025, in the amount of $1,233,035.19, and May 16th, 2025, in the amount of $2,938,344.99. Reports.
Any reports this evening from the library?
No, I know.
5 minutes, Smart.
I'm reporting that our next meeting is next week on May 21st, 5 o'clock at the Plattsburgh Public Library on the 2nd.
Okay. No other reports from any other committees? Ms. Carlin, could you read the rest of the items?
Item 7.117, mayoral appointment police chief.
Set for, moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Evans. Roll call.
Yes. Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Gibbs?
Yes.
Talon?
Respectfully, I must abstain from this vote.
You gotta vote. Do you have a reason to abstain? It's gotta be a positive or negative.
It's considered a no.
Okay,
Counselor Talon is a no. Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Colleen?
Yes.
The item is adopted.
got it.
Item 7.118, mayoral appointment police captain.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Evans. Roll call.
Yes. Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
I'm going to abstain again, so it's considered a no.
No.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Colleen?
Yes.
5-1.
Item is adopted.
Seven point one one nine.
7.119, mayoral appointed city historian.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Colleen. Roll call.
Counselor Bond?
Yes.
Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.120, travel request fire department.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Evans. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond?
Yes.
Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Colleen?
Yes.
Carried. Item 7. Item 7.121, authorizing award of professional service agreement, Plattsburgh Barracks Veterans Department.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Colleen. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond?
Yes.
Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Colleen?
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.122, authorizing award license agreement for concession stand at City Hall Place Kiosk.
Moved by Counselor Talon, second, Counselor Gibbs. Any discussion?
I do have a question about this.
Okay.
When we originally were looking at the RFP,
You close,
could we close the door?
please.
Thank
Oh,
you.
never
Oh.
mind.
If it makes
How are you,
it-
Courtney?
Where did you come from?
You just vaporized like this.
She anticipates.
So,
Hold out.
my question is, the original RFP, the parameters of it were specific about not choosing a business that would seem to compete with anything nearby. Is that still the case for this business? Because, you've got the chapter 1 next door. So is there going to be any conflict and competition between those two businesses? I just want to make sure of that before I vote.
Yeah, it was part of the review process. We checked to make sure it didn't seem like.
So there'll be no conflict? Okay. That was all I wanted to know. And I was going to email you, but I just, I was straight and I couldn't, so.
I asked if we got a discount.
Any
I
further
got a laugh
discussion?
on it.
It's right there.
What? Any further discussion? Good.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
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 Colleen.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.123, approval for street closure, Cleveland Street, July 26, 2025.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Talon. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.124, establishment of the 2025 management policies and fees for the Melissa Penfield Park Community Room.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Adams. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.125, authorized correction to change order for Penfield Park Building renovation.
Moved by Counselor Talon, second, Counselor Gibbs. Any discussion?
Where was the clerical order on the error? Was it our clerical order or the error or theirs?
What was provided by the construction oversight manager, in the change order, there was just a clerical error
Alright.
of about $1,000 in that change order.
I got you. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.126, authorized budget adjustment, general fund budget, police vehicle repairs.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second, Counselor Evans. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Carried. Item 7.127, authorized budget adjustment, general fund budget, New York State DEC CSC grant for the state safe routes to school design and construction oversight services.
Moved by Counselor Gibbs, second. Counselor Bond. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Yes.
Counselor Colleen.
Yes.
Carried.
Any further new business or anything that council would like to bring forward at this time? I have no reason for an executive session this evening, if anybody else does. I'll take a motion to adjourn. I got a lot of them. That one was easy, right? Counselor Bond, second, Counselor Colleen. Roll call.
Counselor Bond.
Yes.
Counselor Evans.
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs.
Yes.
Counselor Talon.
Yes.
Counselor Manette.
Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I will adjourn the meeting at this time.